Welcome, everyone. This is Greg Rock, and we're thrilled to have Kimberly Watson-Hemphill with us for the latest of our Meet the Author webcast series. Kimberly has just released a brand new book on a subject that's near and dear to the heart to a lot of the folks in BPM Institute, Innovating Lean Six Sigma, a strategic guide to deploying the world's most effective business improvement process. And Kimberly, thank you for coming today. I know getting these books out is quite an effort, so congratulations on completing that, and especially for coming to share a preview of the book with our members who are folks working hard on continuous process improvement projects and have varying degrees of Six Sigma experience, and so we're thrilled to see what you've included in the book. Welcome.
Thank you, Greg. I sure appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today and also with the members of the BPM Institute.
All right, great, Kimberly. Well, I guess let's start right at the beginning. You know, the title of the book caught my eye when I first saw it, but maybe you can tell our members why did you write the book and how it can be helpful to business leaders and folks that are working on continuous process improvement.
Sure. So we wrote this book to help business leaders get more from their operational excellence program. Myself and my team at Firefly, we've worked in operational excellence each individually for over 20 years. And we've learned a lot over that time about what makes these programs successful and also some pitfalls to watch out for. And what we've seen is there are many books out there about the Lean Six Sigma toolkit, but not much out there on the Lean Six Sigma deployment piece of it. So we wanted to provide information on the deployment side, again, so people can get the most possible from their programs. So we wrote the book for two slightly different audiences. The first is the individual who is newer to Lean Six Sigma and wants to get the program off to a good start. So, you know, the leadership of the company has decided we need to make a move in operational excellence. Perhaps you are leading this initiative or you are going to have a key piece of it. And, you know, before the ink is dry on those new business cards, there are lots and lots of questions that you need to answer. So additionally, we also wrote the book for the experienced business leader who wants to get more from their deployment or take it to the next level.
Sure. So, Kimberly, I know you know, we see folks with a lot of different roles and lots of different experience levels that are participating in these initiatives. Could you give us a sense maybe of some of the titles or responsibilities that those folks have who the book would particularly be helpful for?
Absolutely. So the first group that we were thinking of is the group that is getting started in continuous improvement. So that person would, you know, might be a deployment leader, might be a belt, might be going to considering some BPM training, you know, could be at various different levels in the business, but they are considering continuous improvement, operational excellence, BPM, you know, any of these types of initiatives. And our first part, the first section of the book, the first major section, is helping people that are a little bit newer to this space get started. And what we've seen is that we don't necessarily start with the right types of questions, you know, right away, you know, what belts are we going to train? What methodology do we need? How many people, full-time, part-time? You know, there are all these questions. And they're very important. But to get the most out of the deployment, what we recommend is starting with the big questions first. And this is the first chapter of the book, focusing on these big important questions. You know, why? Why are you implementing Lean Six Sigma or another form of operational excellence? What is the reason? We want a clearly communicated, compelling reason. You know, what improvement opportunities will be addressed? The project selection aspect is very important. What are we going to be addressing with this program? Now that we've got the why and the what, we're on to the how. How do you want to go about solving these problems? And there are a number of different methodologies there that could help. And then after we've figured out that choice, who should be involved in the initiative? And again, here it's high-performing individuals that will use the methods to drive improvement. So here's an example from one of our clients in consumer packaged goods. So they started on their operational excellence journey because they wanted to enter some new markets and expand globally. That was the why. The what behind that, well, there were two specific things. One was streamlining supply chain operations, which was going to lead to a Lean Six Sigma approach in certain parts of the business. Another aspect that they wanted to address was innovating new products and services for this market, for a couple targets within that. That went down the direction of a design for Lean Six Sigma types of approach to meet that objective. And they decided in this case to execute those with some full-time black belts on the design side and some Kaizen leaders on the supply chain side. But this is just an example of a well-thought-out plan. The results from this program are completely different, than another company, I'm sure you've heard of this, who decides to say send 10 people to greenbelt training and see if anything sticks. Right? It just isn't that easy. We know that if we're experienced practitioners. So what we want to do is set the program up for success from the beginning. And that is the focus of the first half of the book. So a number of different things to think about when getting started. One of the points to consider is how we're going to, have really strong leadership support. Is that something we have already? Is that something that we need to consider? How about the culture? Is the culture already in good alignment with continuous improvement? Continuous improvement will change a culture. Is that a direction that the business is hoping to go? Also measurement. How are we going to measure if our deployment is successful? How are we going to measure our projects? Then there's also sort of both an art and a science with project selection and pipeline management. The projects that we pick are really important. So what is our methodology for that front end piece of it? And then the first half of the book concludes with a Lean Six Sigma maturity model. And the objective here with this maturity model is if you are just getting started, you can see how these things evolve over time. We definitely consider it a journey. It's always a learning journey, always improving. We can always do better. And then a maturity model is also helpful if your deployment is more experienced. You can score yourself against it, see, hey, here's some things that we're doing well, but perhaps there also might be some ideas of what you could do for improvement, again, to get the program up to the next level.
Sure. And I think we would agree with you, Kimberly. It certainly is a journey, and it takes a lot of commitment and effort to keep these programs moving. And then I was also curious, besides some of these baseline best practices that you have for getting things off on the right foot, do you have any recommendations in the book for more experienced practitioners or folks that may have some efforts early efforts that stalled? And do you have any tips for folks in those situations?
We absolutely do. So one of the things that we've seen about the book that has surprised me a little bit is the number of individuals from very mature deployments that wanted to build on some of those foundational pieces. But we definitely have the whole back half of the book is focused on experienced practitioners. They're working in this right now. They want to remediate, or even if it's already a really, really great deployment, think about how to take that to the next level. And here's some areas that we've seen that there is potentially interest or need to take things to the next level. One of those things is in the area of customer needs. How can we go deeper into customer needs is something that is critically important. Another area where we need to explore is in business process management. Kaizen is excellent for getting results quickly. We've also seen some success tackling some pretty big projects with a Kaizen type approach. We call it enterprise Kaizen. One struggle that sometimes deployments face is sometimes they aren't as well aligned sort of in the day-to-day execution and the overall strategy. So there's some guidance there on Hoshin planning. There is also a bit of a deep dive on some specialized tools for our sort of black belt, master black belt type reader. We talk about how to use product and process design methodologies. So just a brief introduction to design for Lean Six Sigma for both the new product development side and also for the creation of new processes. And the very last part of the book is a specific chapter on Lean Six Sigma in healthcare. We've just seen so much interest in healthcare recently, which is very exciting. If you haven't ever worked in healthcare, for sure we're all a customer of the healthcare system, and it's exciting to see kind of that whole industry get excited about a journey in continuous improvement.
Excellent, Kimberly. You had touched on a topic, obviously, that's near and dear to a lot of our members, and it has to do with how Lean Six Sigma and BPM could potentially work together. There are some camps out there that think these are mutually exclusive choices, but where do you and Firefly come down on Lean Six Sigma and BPM?
Absolutely. That's a great question, Greg. So we do have a chapter in the book on business process management, and our view is that we see business process management and Lean Six Sigma as very complementary methodologies. Our team's approach historically has been to start with the bigger projects, like a black belt projects or your larger Kaizen projects, just to get measurable returns, more significant measurable returns more quickly. But, it can be done very well with different approaches as well. It's a journey, and continuous improvement is a highly customizable journey. We have a client that we're working with, a Fortune 500 financial services company, and their approach is that everyone in continuous improvement starts with business process management. That's the foundation. And then elements of Lean and Six Sigma come along later. So the benefit of that, they've started with business process management. Their processes are already well managed, well measured, they're documented, they've identified process owners, so it's very well set up from the beginning. In all cases, we would recommend starting with a strategy and identifying the critical processes in the business. Then it works well to start with the BPM approach. Again, we're getting our management, our measurement, our documentation in order, which creates a great foundation for process improvement, or starting with improvement as well, where the returns can be a little bit larger, but both approaches have a lot of positives, and we've just seen more and more of these methodologies working together in recent years, and we think it's great. We feel very strongly that continuous improvement is a journey, and we want to pick an approach that is aligned with the strategy of the business, the culture of the business, and is going to achieve the specific results that that business is trying to reach with their operational excellence initiatives. So whether, the start is business process management, Lean, Six Sigma, whatever the toolkit choice is, what we believe is that operational excellence is a virtuous cycle. We have good alignment with the strategy, with the why, the meaningful projects that are the what, and also have our top talent resources. And these elements, when they work together, are just very positively reinforcing. If we clearly communicate why this is important, the managers will devote capable people. If they are leading meaningful projects tied to the strategy, we're going to use the best methods, we're going to get the best results. When we get these results at the end, the individuals view their efforts as meaningful, the company views its efforts as meaningful, the programs continue, they get stronger, and they're positive both for the company and for the individuals that are working with them. A positive, virtuous cycle all around. Well, thank you very much, Greg, for the opportunity to come on the show today and share a few words with your members at the BPM Institute.
All right, Kimberly. Well, thank you so much. And for our members, I also wanted to make note of a couple other options or benefits to this specific webcast. Kimberly and the folks at Firefly have been nice enough to also supply us with a complimentary copy of that BPM chapter of the book, and that is something that you can download right on the webcast homepage that we have on the site. In addition to that, for those that would like to go ahead and purchase the book, our members have a 45% discount to go ahead and purchase that book from McGraw-Hill. And so, Kimberly, thank you so much for extending that to our members. We appreciate spending some time with us and giving us some of the latest thinking around Lean Six Sigma and BPM together. And we look forward to hearing about future clients that Firefly is able to help in the area and some of your upcoming projects. For our members and folks that are looking for additional education on operational excellence and Lean and Six Sigma and BPM, we're about halfway through our schedule for the year, with events remaining in San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and New York. In each of those cities, you'll find a dedicated operational excellence set of training courses, as well as our traditional BPM core and elective classes. And of course, all those courses add towards our certificate and certification program. And so, Kimberly, I appreciate you being the latest guest in our Meet the Author series and sharing all about innovating Lean Six Sigma with our members. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate the opportunity.
Bye-bye now.